listen, there's not a lot of hope in the progressive movement. Some people say burn it down, fuck the elections. Some people say don't go, we can't do away completely with elections. Some people are mad at Bernie. Some people say, stop being mean and piling on Bernie. What I will say, Bernie a couple months ago said, if Biden runs again, I'm not running. His friend Joe, he said that. Well, unless he, misspoke, he said something else today. So Bernie went on Seth Meyers last night and CBS this morning. There's a couple clips I want to play. Colin, let's do the first one.
One way that wages might go up, and this goes to working people as well, is making college more affordable. There's a controversial move right now from the Biden administration to forgive $400 billion, according to CBO, right, in student loans. Most people in this country still do not go to college. So that means that's a benefit for a minority of us. And it's controversial. Where do you stand on it?
Well, at a time when the Trump administration gave $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1% and large corporations, when you have major corporations today, some of the biggest in this country, make billions of dollars a year in profit, don't pay a nickel in taxes. You know what? I think it is appropriate to tell a younger generation that in many ways has a standard of living which is lower than their parents, that we are going to help. What was their crime? They wanted to go to college. I have talked to people, medical school, nursing school, leave school $100,000 in debt. That's insane. So I think we need to help those people. But I think, Tony, the point that we got to get back to, we don't talk about it on TV very much. We don't talk about it in Congress very much. You got 3 people in America who own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Gap between the very rich and everybody else is growing wider. Maybe, just maybe, we demand that the people on top start paying their fair share of taxes.
I wanted to play that. I mean, what he said was great. I mean, it's what we expect. But is it controversial? I don't see any polls that, like, the majority of people don't support this. I see a lot of polls. The majority of people support this. They're framing it that this is controversial. It's only controversial to these rich fucking news anchors.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. Well, it's to the handlers as well. I mean, this is the narrative. This is the controlled opposition. This is the spin. There you go. It's just the spin cycle, man. They're trying to make sure we believe that it's controversial.
Right.
Just like they want us to believe legalizing marijuana is controversial or gay marriage is controversial. It's only controversial in like weird circles. It's just stupid.
You're 81, President Biden is 79, and there is a group of younger politicians who say now is the time to let the younger generation come through.
And most Americans, according to numerous polls,
Exactly.
including a CBS poll,
Yes.
say, yes, there should be age limits.
Yes.
And in fact, the older people support age limits more than younger people.
Yeah.
Where are you on that question,
Yeah.
Mr. 81-year-old?
Yes.
Excuse me, what did you say?
Exactly.
Look, this is what I think. You can't categorize everybody. You're different than everybody.
Yeah.
We're all different.
Yeah.
You got to look at the individual. But what I think we do, guys, is we look too much at race, at gender, at age. What does somebody stand for?
Yeah.
What are their views? Do you agree with them? Are they standing for you? Or are they standing for the big money interest? And obviously, you want people who are competent, capable of the energy. I mean, my God, to be president of the United States requires an enormous amount of energy. But I would say, first of all, take a look at what people stand for. And we don't do that enough. We're too much into personality.
What people stand for and what are their capabilities.
Right.
Listen, I sit here, I can't imagine doing this job at 81 saying, Tony and Nate, do you have my sensible shoes? I can't imagine doing that. But, who knows?
Yeah.
But as you sit here at 81 and Joe Biden's 79, do you think he should run again for the presidency?
Well, that's his decision.
I know it's his decision.
Joe is a friend of mine, and I think against enormous opposition, he has tried to do some very, very good things, and he will make that decision himself. But I think, again, and you're not going to hear this much on corporate television, if I may say so. What we need is, Gail, what we need is
what do
people.
You think?
What do I think? That's his decision. No,
okay,
that's his decision.
All right.
What I think is we need millions of people to start reclaiming their country and demanding an economy that works for all. We have got to deal with the fact oil companies, huge profits. Food companies, huge profits. While people can't afford to fill up a tank of gas.
My friend Joe. I played that clip, and I'm not saying this to kiss Bernie Sanders' ass. I've been very critical, particularly of his strategy or lack thereof, of this inside baseball shit and kissing Biden's ass instead of going after Biden. But I will say, cognitively, there is no contest. I mean, I think Bernie Sanders, if accounting for health in a year or two, would wipe the floor with Joe Biden on a debate stage. Or yes. Honestly, I think Bernie Sanders still is better than a lot of, in terms of actual delivery, than Kamala Harris, Pete, who's rehearsed and robotic. A lot of these politicians. So putting aside whether you want him to run or not, I think he pretty much sounds the same to me that he sounded in 2016 when I was following him around the country. Which I actually think matters if he had the balls to primary Biden, which I'm not sure he does. Getting to that, let's play this last clip, which was whether he would run again.
Do you plan to run again?
That's something, I haven't made that decision. Right now, my focus, and I'll be going around the country, dealing with trying to elect often young progressives, often young people of color, who are prepared to stand up for working families and take on big money interests.
So that might not sound like anything, but it is different than what he said in June. In June, Colin, if you have the CNN article, he said Bernie Sanders says he won't primary Biden and would support him if he runs again. I reached out to Bernie's spokesperson before we went live, asking, was this just, he wasn't directly asked about if Biden runs again, or is he saying something different? Because that would be different if he's not ruling it out, even if Biden runs again. I don't want to get into if Biden's going to run again or not. I happen to think he won't. But what are your thoughts? You and I have both said major, bold structural change is not going to happen in electoral politics. That doesn't mean shun away electoral politics completely, but we have to focus on outside electoral politics, the union movement, strikes, tenants unions, obviously mutual aid. But I do think the progressive movement needs some kind of lift. I would say that. I think there's a lot of desolate progressives out there. I don't know if Bernie times 3, unless he had a completely different temperament and attack style, meaning actually have an attack style, I don't know if he would be the answer. But I wanted to get your thoughts.
Well, just remember this, right? The politicians that we have today, we may want better. We really may want better. But right now, we haven't been willing to go to the mat to make sure that we get better. We've gone out there, we put our fist in the air, we've taken the selfies, we've gotten the T-shirts, but we haven't actually gone out into the streets and made demands. So politicians are working with what they got because they know no matter how radical you feel right now, come November, whatever day they're going to have the election that year, that first Tuesday, they know that ultimately, if you're a Democrat, you're going to vote blue no matter who, most likely. Most likely. I'm not saying most. There's enough of a niche that says, hey, I never do it. But most will just party line, right? So in that sense, look at electoral politics for what it is. It's largely theater, but on the chance you get something good out of it, you may as well have somebody that speaks the language. But I want to read something to you that is important regarding anything to do with primarying in the Democratic Party. This goes back to the DNC attorney, Bruce Spiva, who represented the Democrats when they were being challenged about rigging elections and rigging primaries. And some of the things that came out were, there is no such thing as a Democrat. The DNC just encourages people to vote for the Democratic Party. There is no such thing. Number two, no one has any right to an expectation of a fair election if the DNC wishes to select a candidate in the primaries instead of a free election process. That's their right, he said. Donating money to Bernie Sanders doesn't mean that money was going to assist him to win the primary. You have no right to think the DNC was obligated to follow their own charter and internal policies about elections. Again, DNC attorney Bruce Spiva, not Steve Grumbine. So if somebody gets feels, talk to Bruce. And number four was discussion of any disputes with the DNC do not belong in the transparent process in a court of law. The DNC is a private association which should never be asked to engage in the discovery process or to reveal any of its internal workings or strategies should they decide to select the candidate rather than allow a fair election of candidates. So, folks, this is the stuff that I think about when I think about Bernie Sanders. I fought tooth and nail for him in part 1. I tripped and fell and fought my ass off for part 2. Now, part 3, I'm saying to myself, we need to be in the streets. Now, if Bernie runs, I mean, he is the best of what would be there. And say all you want about this, that, and the other. Look, electoral politics ain't where it's at. So if you want to make that the hill you die on, it's your life. You do your thing. For me, I believe that there's nobody. It doesn't matter if it's Bernie or if it's freaking, Eugene V. Debs at this point. You got a Congress and you've got a Senate and you've got a Supreme Court, and all of that has to work together if it really works together, and it really is going to serve our needs. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you got to be able to govern with that trash that you're surrounded by. So to me, if you want power, you want to stop feeling powerless, start organizing, start bonding, start working together to mobilize and take back your country. Stop waiting for a politician to do it. But you heard what Bruce Spiva said. And to me, and in this shithole of a system we've got, Bernie probably is the best chance we have if he were to run, but he won't run. And if he does run, remember, the DNC has already spoken.
Putting aside whether he would run or not, I still think if Biden runs, he's not going to. Putting that aside for a second, let's say he did run. Sure. I think, listen, it is really, really unlikely that anyone primarying an incumbent president wins. I mean, it's never happened that I know of. So putting that aside, if anyone was going to even be competitive with the label progressive, it would be Bernie. I mean, I think Marianne Williamson is lovely. There's whispers that or chatter that she might primary Biden. I don't necessarily think she would have much of a shot. She would, obviously she's an inspirational person. I don't think she would have a shot. Nina Turner, I don't know if she would run. I think she would have a better chance than Marianne Williamson, just based on who she is and her delivery. But I don't know if she would have a shot to actually compete. Bernie, I think it's unlikely that he would win for all the reasons we know, the rigging, all that. I did a video last week. The DNC literally right now is already running Biden's 2024 campaign. Not like Biden aides. The DNC is the apparatus for Biden 2024. So there goes neutrality. And the reporting is if Biden passes the baton and he doesn't run, then the DNC would that apparatus would then run the campaign for whether it's Vice President Harris or whomever. So I think it's very important if you're primarying an incumbent. Number one, obviously he's a name brand. Number two, he's obviously popular. And number three, he has a built-in infrastructure, which I think he has squandered. He has not utilized his massive email list other than, hey, sign my petition, which we always get those emails. Hey, Bernie, sign my petition. But he still has the email list. He still has that infrastructure, digital organizers, all that. He's got Friends of Bernie, which is his parallel group. And you're going to need that. Whereas other people, whether it's Marianne Williamson, Nina Turner, name your person, progressive, you don't have that built in already. So those are the reasons I think he would be the only progressive that would have an iota of a chance. The problem is, I think if you are running against an incumbent president, you can't just run based on, well, I think my ideas are better. You have to run because you're going to say he is doing a bad job. He is not a friend of the worker. He is what the Democratic Party should not be. That it has to be an attack campaign if you're going to actually primary. And he has shown no inkling. We just played the clip. He's still calling him my friend. He's still giving him credit like he's fought against such obstacles. What obstacles? Any president that wanted these things would have railroaded Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema and raked them over the coals publicly a year and a half ago. Would have went on a holy crusade against these fucking assholes. So if Bernie runs again, I don't think he's going to run in a way. I think it would be more of 2016, 2020, maybe slightly sharper elbows. He's not going to go after Biden aggressively enough. And if you're going to actually compete with an incumbent president, you got to go for their fucking throat. and that's just not in him. So for those reasons, I am skeptical. I'm not saying I think he would be the best chance, but I'm skeptical that it would actually be a worthwhile pursuit.
Just remember, around the world, fascism is on the rise. Faster,
Italy
harder.
just elected, basically. Yeah,
she's a proto-fascist, but she's definitely in that vein, and her party that she supports has a long history of fascism. But it's important to note, and people blow me off literally when I say this, but I'm going to keep saying it because it's true, even if it hurts some sensitive ears. The fact is that neoliberalism creates the freaking fertile soil, pours water on it, puts all kinds of miracle grow on it, and creates fascists, because neoliberalism does exactly what Joe Biden did. He had the opportunity to eradicate all student debt without filling out a single form, without applying for it, without anything. He could have said, just do away with it. He could have instantly done that. He did not do that. That there's no getting around it. He did not do that. And so the people that did not get help, on top of the people that thought it was a handout anyway, he creates fascism, because each one of those people is furious. They're pissed off. And then you start looking at the people that are desperately trying to afford their homes, trying to feed their families, etc. And there is no relief coming at all. Zero.
Right.
Zero. So this is what created Nazi Germany. You think about the Treaty of Versailles and all the other crap that happened back then. You gave a bunch of people. There's nothing inherently fascist about German people. However, when you give them there is no alternative, you make the economic conditions as crappy as possible, which we're about to do in this country, and you start doing these things. You don't act like, oh, I can't believe it happened. Oh my God, what happened here? How did this come to be? Oh my God, this is Fascism Factory 101. This is it.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.